tastes bad. Me bored.
Me too.
What we do?
Do not know. Maybe think what they do in past time.
Oh, in past time, they spin yarn, the likes of which you never saw before.
No, not right, no. They would weave like tapestry, likes of which never seen before.
No. They lead on merry dance, the likes of which we never seen before.
Yes.
Because they all stuck in cave. No, not stuck in cave.
Where we stuck?
We're in studio. Studio, Penny.
Rob.
Because we're all stuck at home! Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are all stuck at home, but we're still having fun! Yes, we are! And we're gonna have great fun today as well, so buckle your shoes as always and be prepared to come with us on our merry dance.
Hello everyone, boys and girls. Now, before we get to the main part of our video, we want to give you some activities and some fun things that you can do while we're all stuck at home. I'm sure you've all got some energy that you want to burn off, so we're going to show you some circus skills that you could give a go or at least enjoy watching. Now, Rob is going to show you how devil sticks work and the sorts of things you can do with those.
Yes, I am. So, devil sticks, I've been doing them for a few years now. I am by no means a master, but I do know my way around them. So, first of all, I should show you what devil sticks are. Devil sticks are a form of juggling. They fall into a category called equilibristics. Equilibristics means the art of balancing. Devil sticks constitute one stick with heavy weighted tassels on the end. We call this a flower stick. And two other sticks. Mine are quite long. They've also got a silicone covering, which makes them ever so slightly sticky. They kind of are tactile to each other. When you are performing devil sticks, what you're trying to do is keep the flower stick from falling to the ground. We do that by using the other two sticks to balance it in the middle, and the tassels either end of the flower stick form a counterweight. The most common way to start off with devil sticks is with a motion called a tick-tock. A tick-tock is a very, very simple thing to master. Right now I'll do a quick little demonstration and I'll throw in a couple of tricks so you can see how you can extend your own practice as you get better at it. And then I'll show you how to get started with a simple tick-tock and we can take it from there. You do need to build up a little bit of momentum with flower sticks to get a proper spin going. There we go, that was quite a nice spin. And you can do alternate spins as well. It's been actually a little while since I have done some proper devil stick spinning. You can also do a horizontal plane spin. Obviously we have our vertical plane and we have our horizontal plane. And we can balance along both of those edges. And the balance point on the flower stick is the center of the flower stick itself. So we can have quite a lot of fun knocking this backwards and forwards. But of course you have to get used to balancing your flower stick in the first place. Now, if you want to make your own flower stick, if you want to make your own devil sticks, you can just use any sticks you can find lying around the house. Mine are about 40 centimeters long, and you can add weights to the end of one of three 40 centimeter sticks with a big glob of blue tack or something like that taped to either end of a stick to make a flower stick with counterweight, and that would work perfectly well. Dowling rods work quite well as devil sticks if you have some of those in a garage, or you can ask a parent or guardian if they've got something like that, and then you can start practicing. So what we're going to do, we're going to have our flower stick pointing vertically up in the air, and we're going to hold one of our other sticks horizontally out to the side and lean the flower stick against it. We're then going to push the flower stick to the other stick on the other side, like that, and we're going to try and hit the other stick at the same point on the flower stick, about an inch or two below the weight at the top of the flower stick. And we're just going to push the flower stick to and fro like that. I'm holding my sticks about 1.5 feet apart, or about the length of one of my sticks. Now you've got to get used to pushing the flower stick and letting it fall of its own accord. Its own weight will carry it over the arc as it processes. Arc is that, and the procession is the movement of the flower stick. Now a lot of people will want to grab the flower stick like that and move it over. Now if you do that, you're never going to achieve the balance point of your flower stick. So it is important that you get used to knocking it backwards and forwards like that. We build up the speed a little bit, and the momentum builds up. And you can actually lift your stick off the ground. Now that is just the counterweighted balance of your devil stick. That is nothing else. I'm not holding on to the stick. If I hold on to the stick, it suddenly stalls and swings like that. I'm letting the stick fly through the air in between the two sticks that I'm holding on to. The flower stick is being knocked backwards and forwards, and at no time are all 3 sticks touching each other. And there is time in between one stick touching the flower stick and the other stick touching the flower stick, during which no sticks are touching the flower stick. We build up the speed on the ground, and you just slowly raise your sticks up. Now you can see that the rate at which I'm knocking my flower stick backwards and forwards sped up there. You can do it slowly. And in order to do it slower, I am ever so slightly lifting one stick above the height of the other stick. Once you've managed to lift it up in the air like this, the first thing to do is to try a very simple throw. Now, as with juggling, and a lot of other equilibristics, juggling with balls that is, when you first do a throw, you are likely to drop the stick, the flower stick, on the first attempt at catching. You're trying to get your flower stick to spin in the air, and once it's completed its spin, catch it under the flower on the opposite side, like this. And then immediately I start back into the tick-tock. So I'll do that one more time. There we go. And the counterweight either side of the pivot on the flower stick is what stalls the momentum of the flower stick and stops it spinning out of control. It is very easy to allow your flower stick to spin out of control, however. Penny, if you'd just like to mind out one moment, just in case. And there we go. I spun it too fast and I couldn't catch it on the other stick. The common term for people who do equilibristics of this variety, or stick juggling, is spinners. We are spinners because we spin the sticks. And there's a couple of different ways that you can do equilibristics or spinning. And when you can do it to a much better level than me, it's considered that you got flow. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I do hope you'll have a little bit of time and fun to play around, make your own devil sticks, see what you can achieve, see if you can get a simple tick-tock going. And we'll see you again in just a moment for our main feature of the day.
What a good idea.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Let's go.
Hello there. Now it is time for today's story. Today's story is a bit of a grisly one, but we just know you're going to love it. Now this tale comes from an area of West Africa that these days we know as the countries of Ghana and Togo. It is set in a time before time, many thousands of years ago, before people had learned to build cities, before they'd even learned how to farm. In these days, people would hunt and they would gather what plants they could. But this story is set in a time of famine and of drought. Because there was a drought, the animals would die because there was nothing to drink. And because of this, the people would starve. The plants would wither and the people would starve. Now this story is set in particular in a village and is about a boy in this village. He would spend all day with his family scrabbling around to find whatever they could, whatever measly roots they could dig up to put in their pot for dinner. But it was ever so much work. And the boy had had enough. He had had enough of working from when the sun rose to when the sun set, and he'd had enough of not having any meat to fill his belly. He had had enough of all this hard work, of digging his fingernails into the ground, of trying to pull up those roots that just did not want to come. And so he decided to set off into the jungle to see what he could find. For 3 days, he travelled in the jungle, finding nothing to eat. Although there were lots of things growing, everything was either too poisonous or too withered for him to have. And so he still went hungry, and he walked ever on and on. But then he came across something quite curious. In front of him, on the jungle floor, lay a dozen or so thick black ropes, or at least what he took for ropes. They stretched off to the right, through the leaves and the trees, and they stretched off to the left, over the rocks and through the branches. Now the boy had a choice. He could either turn around and go home and work and work and work for not a lot, or he could take his chances and follow these ropes and see where they went. So he thought, and he looked right, and he looked left, and decided to take his chances and follow the rope. He followed that rope for the rest of the day, climbing over rocks, scooching under branches, until at last he came to a clearing in the jungle. In the middle of that clearing, there was a small mountain. And as he seemed to come to the edge of this clearing, he noticed that that small mountain wasn't a mountain at all, but a giant hut. And the figure at the bottom of that hut was a giant, the most humongous being he had ever seen. The ropes that he was following came out of this giant's head. They were his strands of hair that went off into the jungle. Now the boy was afeard of the giant. He had a strange, magical sense about him. He seemed to shimmer in the sunset. But he also noticed that the giant looked very well fed. He must have had a store of food somewhere. And so the boy crept closer. And as he crept closer, he noticed that the giant was asleep, which meant if he was very careful, he could get to that food store and leave before the giant even noticed he was there. And so he crept. But as he did so, and as he reached the giant's foot, the giant stirred. He lifted his giant head and opened his giant eyes and looked at the boy.
Who are you?
Please, sir, I'm just a boy from the village not far from here.
And what do you want?
Oh, I am ever so hungry. I don't suppose you have any food that I could have.
I am from the beginning of creation, and I know all the ways of getting meat. But I won't just give you this meat. If you work for me, I will let you eat until your belly is full.
And the boy thought that was a wonderful idea. And so the boy decided to work for the giant. And so the boy worked for the giant. But these were not the sorts of things that he was doing back at home, where he worked so hard for not a lot. These were small things that he could do whenever he wanted, like gathering wood for the fire, laying out meat in the sun to dry, and all so he could fill his belly with as much food as he wanted. This was a good life for him. 3 months went by, and he started to feel a little homesick. He missed his family, so he asked the giant if he could have a short break to go and see them. The giant agreed. He said, "Yes, you may go back home, but make sure you send someone in your place to do all this work that you would normally do." The boy was overjoyed. He would go to get to see his family again. And so he set off through the jungle, back home to the village. His family were overjoyed to see him. They celebrated that night with as much root soup as they could muster. Everyone asked him how come he looked so well, and he told them about the giant that he worked for, and about the things that he would have to do for all the food that he could eat. His friend, in particular, was curious about this, and so the boy said to his friend, "Why don't you go off and work for the giant while I'm here? You can eat as much as you want and not have to work so hard." And so his friend set off into the jungle to find the giant. A few weeks went by, and the boy loved his family and enjoyed spending time with them, but he missed the life he had with the giant. He missed not having to scrabble in the dirt for roots to eat, and he missed all that meat that he could eat. And so he set back off to go and find the giant and go work for him again. After his trek, and after finding the clearing again, he finds the giant. The giant is pleased to see the boy. He's missed him, and the boy in his own way has missed the giant. And he looks around and asks the giant, "Have you seen my friend?" "Oh," says the giant, "he set off a few days ago back to your village. But I did not see him on the way." "Well, you must have taken a different route. You probably missed each other. It is a thick jungle out there." "That makes sense," said the boy. "But still, I am sad that my friend did not wait for me. I thought I might be able to see him again." "I wouldn't worry," said the giant. "I'm sure he's fine, wherever he is." So the boy put it out of his mind and carried on with his work, gathering the wood for the fire, laying out meat in the sun to dry, and all the while filling his belly with meat. 3 more months went by, and again the boy started to feel a little homesick, and so he asked the giant again for a short holiday.
"Well, of course you can go home, boy. But remember, I require someone in return to do the work that you would usually do. And this time make them someone strong, someone muscular."
And the boy thought for a while. He was sure that there was someone back in his village that fitted that description, someone muscular he could send in his place. And so the boy once more set off back home. Once he reached there, he was thrilled to find his family was still so pleased to see him. But the village was worried. The village was upset. His friend had not returned since he set off to work for the giant. And the boy thought about what the giant had said. Had he really set off home, as the giant had said? Had he gotten lost in the jungle? Had he even reached the giant in the first place? The boy did not know. The village did not know. But the boy tried to put it out of his mind and enjoy being at home with his family once again. His family again were pleased to see that he looked so well. This time, his brother in particular asked him about the giant and the things he would do for him. His brother happened to be quite a muscular person, and so the boy decided to tell him all about the giant, told him where he lived, and told him about all the things that he had to do and all the things that he could eat if he did them. He was a little unsure, although he couldn't quite place why. But he told his brother where to find the giant, and off his brother set. A week went by this time, and the boy decided it was time to go back to the giant. Time to eat all of that meat again, and this time hopefully catch his brother before he decided to return. And so off he set into the jungle and came across the clearing where the giant lived. At this time, he noticed the giant outside his hut gnawing on a bone. The giant was surprised to see the boy.
Why are you home so soon?
Oh, sir, I missed the meat, and I was hoping I would see my brother before he returned home.
Ah, I am sure he is around here somewhere.
I see. Well, hopefully I will see him soon. I have been walking for a long time and I'm very hungry. Would it be okay if I went inside the hut to find something to eat?
Why, of course. But do make sure to mind your step, won't you?
And the boy agreed. This was the first time he was allowed inside the hut. Usually the giant would bring the food out for him. So the boy, with trepidation, approached the entrance to the hut. The hut was dark, but as the boy's eyes adjusted to the dimness, he could see hanging from the wall all the meat that the giant had managed to catch. All the animals that you could think of, there they were, hanging ready to be eaten. But then the boy saw something that caused an icy shiver to go down his spine. The hairs on the back of his neck stood on end. He looked, and in one corner he saw a pile of bones that could only have come from a human. He looked closer still and saw that one of the bones bore the cuff that he had given his brother as a present not long ago. Terror gripped the boy's stomach, and quickly, all at once, he ran home to his village to tell his family all about the giant. He told them what he'd been doing for the giant. He told them what he thought the giant had done. He told them that he thought the giant had eaten his friend and eaten his brother. The villagers gathered together quickly. They brandished flaming torches and set out into the jungle to get vengeance on this giant. The boy led them to where he first saw those strands of hair lying on the jungle floor. The villagers stopped. They knew that even though they were angry, and there were many of them, they could not take on a giant of his size. They could not take on a giant of his power. But then the boy had an idea. He took one of those flaming torches and touched it to a strand of the hair that lit like a fuse. The fire ran down the length of the hair and away off to where the giant lived. The villagers chased after it, and as they reached the edge of the clearing, they arrived just in time to see the fire touch the top of the giant's head and set him alight. Screams ripped through the night of the jungle as the giant caught a flame, but all of a sudden they were cut short. The giant was no more. The giant was merely a pile of white ash on the floor. The villagers were satisfied. They had had their revenge, but they were not happy, for they had still lost their people. But the boy noticed something on the floor. The roots of the giant's hair had melted rather than burnt away, and he saw the pool of liquid on the floor. He thought about what the giant had said, that he was older than creation, that he knew more than anyone could ever know. And quickly he pulled a vial from his bag and filled it with that liquid. Quickly he hurried into that hut of meat and poured some on the bones that once belonged to his friend, and some on the bones that once belonged to his brother. They sprang back to life and the villagers were overjoyed. But as the boy went to put the vial back into his bag, it slipped out of his hands and landed in the pile of ash. The last of the liquid fell into that ash. There was not enough to bring back the whole giant, but one round, bulbous eyeball came back and stared at the boy. This story is still told in Togo today. It is believed that that eyeball exists somewhere out there in the jungle still, and that every time it blinks, someone somewhere in the world dies. Because it is so dusty in Togo, the eye blinks often.
Oh. Felt that one right in my heart, you know?
Oh, I could tell you really gave a lot in this one.
Yeah,
today,
yeah,
Theo.
I felt like it, yeah.
Well, I'm not the only one that's noticed as well.
Oh.
The cave people that live next door,
Oh.
they've seen what you've done today. They've been so impressed by your performance that they wanted to give you a little gift to say thank
Oh,
you.
really?
Say well done, yeah.
Oh.
So they've given us a little prehistoric horse. You know, the really little ones with the toes. You know, prehistoric horse. It's about yay big long shaggy mane. You don't really ride them. You kind of eat them. You know, turn them into dinner. So I thought we could have a nice pony stew this evening. What do you think? Yeah. One thing though, you're gonna have to sort it out yourself. So here you go. I'll just leave you to it, shall I? And I'll see you in a bit for dinner.
Right, well, I guess, right, off I go then.
Good stew.
Yeah.
You can make that again for sure. Hi there. We hope you had fun watching us today. We had an absolute blast making it, didn't we?
Yes, we did. We really did.
Fantastic. We just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to everyone that's donated to us so far. Because of you, we've managed to keep this going for a whole month. Isn't that incredible? But we still do need your donations to keep us going. If you would, please visit www.paypal.me/Strange-Twig and give what you can. Thank you.
Dobbin tastes good.
Oh, you named him?
Oh, yeah, I mean, you can't eat a thing unless you name it, can you?
It's a fair rule, I think.
Yeah, I mean, always name a thing before you eat it.
I think that's a good life rule, a good survival life rule.
Good life rule. Good
Definitely.
Life. Yeah.
Oh, that was so good. You know what? I'm going to have to go back for seconds.
Seconds. Yeah.